Today we will be discussing the effects of Hungary from the Holocaust. Now, how it all started. During the war, Hungary had engaged in secret peace negotiations with the United States and the United Kingdom against the Soviet Union. Hitler discovered this betrayal, and in 1944, German forces occupied Hungary. When Soviet forces began threatening Hungary, an armistice was signed between Hungary and Russia. The armistice was signed by Regent Nicholas Horthy. Soon after, Horthy's son was kidnapped by German commandos. Horthy was forced to revoke the armistice. The agreement was then disposed from power, while Hungarian fascist leader Ferenc Szalasi established a new government with the German backing. In 1945, Hungarian and German forces in Hungary were defeated by invading Soviet armies. Approximately 300,000 Hungarian soldiers and 80,000 civilians died during World War II, and many cities were damaged, most notably the capital of Budapest. Most Jews in Hungary were protected from deportation to German extermination camps for the first few years of the war. However, from the start of German occupation in 1944, Jews and Roma were deported to the Auschwitz concentration and extermination camp. By the end of the war, the death toll was between 450,000 and 606,000 Hungarian Jews and an estimated 28,000 Hungarian Roma. Hungary's borders were returned to the pre-1938 status after its surrender.
The Hungarian Gold Train. After Hungary was invaded in 1944, the Germans told them to give up their valuables such as gold, jewelry, carpets, furs, silver, gems, and artwork. After Germany found out that the Allies were coming for them, they put all of the stolen treasures into a train with over 40 cars. The train was leaving Hungary and headed for Germany, but was captured in Austria in 1945 by the Allied troops. Most of the valuables were given back to Hungary, but some of them are still in America's possession because their owners are unidentifiable. In 1945, it was worth up to $350 million. Now it would be worth almost $4 billion. Here's info on the refugees.
After the Nazis occupied Hungary in March 1944, Henry Slawik went underground and ordered as many of the refugees under his care to leave Hungary. All of them were able to escape and leave Hungary. The Jewish children of the orphanage in HWHAC were also evacuated. Slawik was arrested by the Germans on March 19, 1944. Although brutally tortured, he did not betray any of his colleagues, and he was sent to the concentration camp in Austria. Henry Slawik helped save as many as 30,000 Polish refugees in Hungary. Approximately 5,000 of this number was Jews.
Here's Vicky and Miranda with our next events.
In the spring of 1945, Budapest was reduced to ruins. Because of the meaningless war fought on the Nazi side, nearly 1 million lives were lost. From 825,000 Hungarian Jews, 550,000 died, and some of the returning survivors emigrated within the next few years. Thus, in the place where one of the most flourishing Jewish communities of the Middle Eastern Europe once existed, now only approximately 5,000 to 70,000 Jews exist.
Now, the effects on education in Hungary. As a result of the anti-religious measures of the dictatorship, the Jewish educational system collapsed. The 17 Jewish elementary schools, 7 high schools, and a teachers' training college reopened after the war. They were soon state-owned. Officials allowed 1 high school and the Hungarian Rabbinical Seminary to function, but these institutions were under strict state surveillance. As a result, the number of students at the Jewish schools of Budapest dropped dramatically. The Jewish education system had collapsed, and many Jews were not getting a good education or any education after World War II. But today, records have shown that contemporary Hungarian Jews are part of Hungarian society's highly educated percent. Many hold university diplomas, 20% more than the percentage of university graduates in Budapest's general population. The highest percentage of college graduates, 72% among Jews in 2000, was in the group ranging in age between 35 and 54. Recently, an interview of Raoul Wallenberg was discovered in the archives of an unknown Hungarian news team. The interview was filmed shortly after he discovered that he was becoming the first secretary of the Swedish legation, with the mission to save Hungarian Jews from persecution. Now here is the interview.
Tell me about yourself, Raoul.
Well, my name is Raoul Wallenberg. I went to college at the University of Michigan to study architecture. When I graduated, I went back to Sweden and tried to find work. I've traveled a lot since then, and I ended up being in business with Cullen and Lohr, who recommended me to fill a position focused on leading the rescue efforts in Hungary.
What was the main purpose of the mission you were appointed to lead?
Basically, I'm in charge of finding new ways to help save the Jews. The Swedish and Hungarian governments have found ways since then, and it's my duty to fulfill these efforts and to create new ones of my own to try and save as many Hungarian Jews as I can.
What is your interest in the position?
While I was in Palestine, I came across Jews who had escaped Nazi Germany. Their stories have touched me of how the Nazis are treating them, partly because of the way I look at life, and also because my grandmother's grandfather was Jewish, so I have a drop of Jewish blood.
If things don't turn out well, what would you think of the decision to take the job?
Would I regret it? Is that what you mean? No, I don't think I would, because I've heard of the inhumane things that the Nazis are doing to the Jewish people, and I don't believe that it's the right thing to do. I won't just sit around and watch the Nazis as they hurt my fellow people, and I will do everything in my ability to save them.
Thank you.
Although Raoul Wallenberg was imprisoned in 1945 and murdered in 1947, having never seen the end of the war, he is responsible for saving 120,000 Hungarian Jews. Now to the commentary.
Wallenberg had a unique opportunity to help the Hungarian Jews because of his position in the country. Since he was a diplomat, he had more access to sources that could help Jews and was not accountable to the Nazi government that annexed Hungary. He could provide thousands of Jews with papers to leave the country as Swedish citizens. Other leaders in Hungary did not have such freedoms or such protections.
During the time period 1942 to 1943, the Germans were defeated at Stalingrad on the Eastern Front. This defeat made it clear to the Hungarian leaders that Germany would most likely lose the war. It wasn't until Hungary was annexed by the Germans at a time when the German army was being defeated on the Western Front that the persecution of the Jews became inevitable. Dame Schwarze committed Hungary to continuing the war effort and forced Hungarian Jews into ghettos with the little food, shelter, or sanitary conditions. As the leaders began to fear to their lives given that war crimes charges were being discussed against them, a new, more anti-Semitic leader took Schwarze's place. His name was Frank Zalesy. He was the leader of the Arrow Cross Party, whose members formed gangs that instigated a reign of arbitrary terror against the Jews of Budapest. During this period, hundreds of Jewish men and women were violently murdered or died from the brutal conditions of forced labor. Finally, by the end of 1944, the remaining 70,000 Jews were ordered into a 0.1 square mile ghetto in the heart of Budapest.
Thank you for joining us today. We will see you next time on MGVK News. Have a great day.